family is set up for the honest man to succeed. That should be the American dream right there. You know, beautiful story with a happy ending. But that ain't the way the world works. America's a hustle. Not that I'm complaining.
Penguin, you waltzing in here like you mean something. We're in the middle of a gang war.
Carmine Falcone's dead.
If we don't protect what's ours, we just look weak. The streets are talking again. They know there's only one man big enough to run this city.
You're playing a dangerous game with his family, Oz. You think I want Sophia Falcone knocking on my door?
She is the hangman.
What is it you're really after, Oz?
I'm gonna tear down the empire from the inside out.
Whoever controls the drug business controls the streets.
I'll be running the whole damn trade. Trust me. It's just the beginning.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone, where we love talking about movies and more. I'm your host, Mason Phillips, and today we're talking about HBO's The Penguin. Before we get any further in this video, I want to ask you guys to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos go live on this channel. You guys do that, it always helps me out. I greatly appreciate it. Now, let's talk about the plot. Following the events of the Batman, Oz Cobb, aka the Penguin, makes a play to seize the reins of the crime world in Gotham. All right, so what was good about the Penguin? First thing I got to talk about is Colin Farrell as the Penguin. This guy just disappears into this role. It's partly the prosthetics, it's the way he carries himself, he changes his voice, he just disappears into this. If I didn't know Colin Farrell was the Penguin, I would think that this is some character actor that has just come out of nowhere and has just blown us away with this amazing performance. Penguin is a very layered character, and he has a very interesting trajectory. Now, I've told you in past videos, or in my Creature Commandos video, I told you this, that I'm not going to put up the typical spoiler banner. If you haven't seen the Penguin, I'm telling you, go watch the show and then come back and then check out this video after the fact. So I'm going to be spoilerish throughout this entire video. In TV reviews, I'm going to be more spoilerish than I am going to be in movie reviews. Just easier for me to talk about the project that way. So warning you up front, go see the Penguin if you haven't already. If you haven't finished it, go finish it and then come back to this video. So he has a very interesting trajectory as a character. You know, he's a little sympathetic. You know, you kind of want to root for this guy, even though he's a dirtbag. You know, he's a really, really bad guy. He's a villain. And that's one thing I really liked about this, is this was a show that was not afraid to have the villain be the villain. When the whole thing wraps up, he's the bad guy. There's no question that the Penguin was the true villain of this entire story. You know, is it Sophia Falcone? In some aspects, yes. Is it this other character? In some aspects, yes. But it's the Penguin at the most part. It's his show. It's all about him. And it's great. Colin Farrell did a great job here where he was able to make you feel sympathetic for a guy that has no sympathy. You have this character in Vic. I love Vic. And man, it was so heartbreaking. You knew that this was probably going to happen to him at the end. He was getting mixed up with the worst possible person, but this was somebody that really saw potential in him. You know, Vic's a guy who, you know, he doesn't have a lot of these people that are really putting hope into him. And so you have somebody who's actually willing to give him a shot. Now, up front, Penguin was just going to pop him. He was going to kill him after he was done with him. Vic pleads for his life, and he's like, okay, well, maybe this kid's useful. And he was useful to him, quite useful to him at the end of the day. It kind of is the reason he was able to build up the empire that he was able to build. Delivers all of that for Oz, and then when it's all said and done, Vic just uttered the wrong words, you know, as you're family to me, you're really like family. And for Oz, that was the thing that really almost brought him down, was that Sal Maroni and then Sophia found out that, you know, Oz has a mom. Oz was saying for a while that his mom was dead to keep her safe and keep her out of the picture, but no, she was actually alive. They used that against him, the fact that he has somebody he actually cared about. Now he's got somebody else who, you know, he kind of cared about Vic. You know, he was like, okay, this is kind of almost like a son to me, but in a weird, twisted way, he's like, the only way this can succeed is, if you're out of the picture. So he just ups and kills Vic. He's almost like sad about doing it, but he's going to do it anyway. There's no remorse in this guy. And even at the end of all of this, after the entire story has been told in season 1 of The Penguin, you're in disbelief that somebody could go so far, that somebody like this could exist. But at the same time, there's a fascination with this character. There's points when you're like, maybe I can root for this guy. He's the underdog here. I see myself as an underdog sometimes, but you went that far with it. You took out somebody who actually cared about you, who's actually helping you, who actually genuinely was loyal to you. But my future enemies may use that against me, so no, I've got to get rid of you. What a way to treat somebody. There's no love in Oz's heart. There's no true care for anybody in his heart. And at the end of the day, you're left in disbelief. You're seeing this happen as he's choking Vic out. You're like, whoa, I know that this guy has the potential to kill somebody. He's done it before. I've seen it. But you're still surprised that he would do this. Even though you expect it, you're still surprised that it's happening. And you're hoping that it's not going to. You're still rooting for Vic. There's got to be a way, right, for him to get out of this. But Vic listened to the devil. He listened to the wrong voice in his ear telling him, it's like, I trust you. You can be better. You can be this. Your dad would actually respect you for doing what you're doing, for teaming up with me and being a part of my crew. And just see that Oz just twisted Vic, formed him into who he needed. And then once he didn't need him anymore, got rid of him. That's the kind of person that Penguin is. But yet, we still want to see more from the Penguin down the line. They've already said there's going to be a second season of this show. It's rumored. I don't know if it's been officially confirmed, but it's pretty heavily rumored. There's going to be a second season of the show, and I'm still wanting to see more from him. He's going to show up in the Batman Part 2. I can't wait to see more from Colin Farrell as the Penguin. And this show did so well. It didn't rely on the Batman aspect of it. The only part of Batman you get is a little bit of news pieces that you get at the beginning of the show, because this show picks up right after the end of The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, but Robert Pattinson's not in this. You don't even get any more hints of Batman until the end of the show, where you see the bat signal, you see that the Penguin's like, I'm free and clear, I'm the king, but there's still something out there. The Batman is still out there, and he's coming to get you. So I think it was actually quite smart that the Batman was not even included in this. I was like, okay, well, maybe Batman's not, but they could bring in Bruce Wayne, right? Well, where would Bruce Wayne fit into this picture? I don't think he would really fit into the story, and it's actually good, I think, that he wasn't here, because he wasn't needed. This wasn't a show that had to rely on Batman. And it's quite refreshing, because a lot of these shared universe projects, they feel like they have to rely on the bigger part, like something in the MCU is like, well, what about Iron Man? Where's he at? Well, this isn't his story. Yeah, but where's Iron Man? This is the Penguin's story. It doesn't need Batman. Love the Penguin story. Love Sophia's story. At first you're like, okay, well, she's just this crazy, twisted person. And then you get, I think it's episode 4, where you get that backstory of what happened to her in Arkham. How did her father treat her? And Mark Strong was great as her dad in this, as Carmine Falcone. As a recast, John Turturro was initially this character in the Batman. He didn't come back for the Penguin, so they recast him with Mark Strong. And although Mark Strong's not in this much, did great in that role. And you see how he treated Sophia and how all that went down. So you have this understanding of this character. Although she's not a good person. She killed her entire family. She's done a lot of bad stuff, but there's some sympathy for her. She's almost like the protagonist-like figure, even though she is the primary antagonist for most of this, because she's fighting against the Penguin, who's our focal character. But there's these points where the whole show twists your perspective, changes your perspective on how you should see certain characters. I love that. The writing in this was beautifully done. I loved every single episode from this. The character work was great. The cinematography was beautiful. The music was beautiful. Love the end credits sequence even. I thought the credits were great. The vision and the picture here was amazing. And it was great that we finally got another entry into the Batman universe. We had the Batman back in 2022. It took until like 2 years later, we got the Penguin. And now we're going to have to wait even longer for the Batman Part 2. It's not filming until this year, and we're not getting it until 2027. So it's going to be a while until we get to go back into this universe. But the Penguin was a great entry back into this world. I'm almost more excited to see the Penguin Season 2 than I am the Batman Part 2. That's no knock against the Batman movie. That's just how good this show was. There's so much more I could talk about the good of this show. Let's just go ahead and move on to the mixed section of the Penguin. All right, so what was mixed about the Penguin? Nothing. I love this show. I thought it was so good. It's one of the best things I watched in 2024. I was a little behind on the show for a while. It's kind of why I'm getting a review out to you now. Not that I've just now finished the show. I finished it a little while ago, but I never got a video out for you guys. I wanted to talk about this. This is another one of those where I did a trailer reaction for this series, but then I never talked about it again. So I wanted to get a video out for you guys to talk about how I felt about the Penguin. I thought this was a really, really well done show, and I want to be doing more DC Universe stuff, be it DC Studios or just DC projects. I got a lot of stuff planned for the year 2025 that's going to be DC Comics related. Excited to get that stuff out to you guys, and I wanted to talk about the Penguin. So in the mixed category, I got nothing for you. What was bad about the Penguin? Again, I got nothing for you guys. I'm sorry. I wish I could be more nuanced in what was good, what was bad, but this show was brilliant. Is it the best show ever? No, it's not the best show ever, but this show is quite good. I love shows like Breaking Bad. This reminded me a lot of Breaking Bad. Penguin already broke bad. Man, you see how he broke bad. In that flashback, when you see him as a kid, he killed his brothers, but he almost felt no remorse. He's like, I'm glad they're not in the way anymore. You get this really twisted relationship with Penguin and his mom. It's so twisted. But then at the end, he's pleading with his mom when she finds out the truth about what happened. She wants him dead, but he's still seeking the approval from her. He still thinks that he's the good guy. He doesn't see himself as the villain. He's got this twisted sense of good and bad and right and wrong. And all he's trying to do is play a game. This whole thing is truly just a game to him. How could he come out on top? Whoever gets in his way, he's just going to step on, put down to the lowest level, raise himself up. I should hate this show. I should hate the way it went, because I've talked about in the past, especially my Creature Commandos video, how I want there to be a win. I want there to be some kind of victory, and that's usually what will make or break a project for me. But it's how captivating the character work is here. If you don't have that, the writing and the character work has got to be truly captivating, and all of that was truly captivating here. I got nothing in the bad section for you guys. I said I had nothing in the bad category. The worst thing is that it's going to be a while until we get the Penguin Season 2, and it's going to be a while until we get the Batman Part 2. I wish that these projects would come sooner. You know, we had the Penguin Season 1 last year. I wish we were getting Season 2 this year. That's the way shows used to work, and I wish that that's the way they still worked, where you got a season 1 year, the next year you get the next season, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a little while until we get to that. So the most negative thing I've got to say about the show is that we just have to wait a while until the next project comes out in this universe, until we get to see Colin Farrell back as the Penguin. But I thought this was great. The character work was great. The costuming was great. The cinematography was great. The way you're brought into Gotham. It's a living city. There's character to this city, and you feel like this place could exist, but it also kind of exists outside of the real world at the same time. It's really interesting the way all of that worked. All those pieces came together. If I'm going to give the show a rating, it's got to be a 4.5 out of 5 or an A- on the letter scale. I almost want to give this a perfect score. It's not a perfect show. I didn't really talk about, what was bad or so in the mixed or negative section. Honestly, it's just because I'm thinking about all the good about the show so much more than I am about anything that I would find bad about this show. There's just not much to talk about in what was negative, specifically for me. Quite enjoyed this series, so I'm going to give it as high a rating as possible without saying this is a perfect show, but thought it was really, really well done. If you've seen The Penguin, go down in the comment section and let me know what you thought of The Penguin. I would love to hear your thoughts. Before you guys go, remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you get notified when new videos go live on this channel. When you guys do that, it always helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. Hope you all have an awesome and a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video.